Welcome to these sci-fi guys. I am Dave, and with me is John and Chad. What did y'all think of the new beginning, guys?
I love it.
Love it.
Love it. Got to put your little names up there, flash in. It was something fun. I just did, to work through this stuff. Today we're going to be talking about Pitch Black, a Vin Diesel movie. We haven't talked about really too much of his stuff. I mean, in the sci-fi realm yet. Obviously. Although I think he's more of an action star than a sci-fi guy. Other than Pitch Black series, I mean, he's done a lot of
That's
the Riddick
completely
stuff,
true.
and
Yeah,
but he hasn't done too much that I can think of off the top of my head. But
well,
anyway,
Pitch Black's about the only things out there for him right now.
yeah, the Fast series is like,
Well, I mean, unless you consider the fact that they've gone to the moon in the Fast series. I mean,
spoilers.
Hey, I didn't see that one.
Actually, I haven't seen the last two, so I didn't know they
not
went to the moon.
particularly worth it. High entertainment value, no realistic value.
I haven't seen the one with I don't know. I haven't seen the last two, three.
Yeah, who knows?
It's stupider than it sounds. I promise.
The last one I saw, I mean, some of the car chases and stuff when they jumped. I think it was in Dubai or something when they went from one building into another, or I don't know. So I was like, it's getting into the Tom Cruise Mission Impossible. I'm not sure which one is a little bit more unrealistic.
Yeah, they lost me when they was pulling that safe in Brazil.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. But anyway, welcome back. This is a new year, 2024. This is our first recording of the year, and we're back to doing what we were. We're talking about movies again. I already mentioned earlier we're doing Pitch Black today. So, is this the first time either of you have seen this one?
Yeah, it's the first time I saw it for sure.
Okay, John, tell us what you thought just overall.
Overall, I would almost say, again, high entertainment value, and I think a decent enough story. It definitely falls prey to the graphics of the time, and I give that full credit. But that aside, if I had saw it when it had come out, I definitely would have been entertained. Definitely wouldn't have minded the storyline, and I think it was very, very fun to watch, as crazy as it was. Lots of odd little twists and turns. Which I think just ultimately made for good storytelling. So I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I enjoyed it, especially. All right, I am a huge. Here, I'll show you. It's one of my latest 3D prints I'm working on. It's a Stargate. I'm working on that for somebody, and seeing Claudia Black on this as because she was in Farscape series, and then she went to Stargate SG-1. And then seeing her in this movie, I was like, oh, I didn't know her the first time I watched this. The first time I watched the movie, and then watching it through the second time, I was like, oh, I like her. And then seeing her get killed off like everybody else did. So pretty much, yeah. Spoiler alert: most people die. We haven't said it yet, so. Okay, let me ask some questions here. All right. Okay, so John, you already mentioned earlier about the graphics. We saw Predator, which was done 1987, around
it was
there.
Definitely the 80s.
Yeah.
This one was early 2000s. I think it was like 2005, if I remember right. All right. So, what did you think about? Let's compare what the alien views are that Riddick sees, and then the Predator saw. You know how you got to see through the Predator's eyes, and how everything was kind of that grainy color, and then but yet Riddick could see everything with that glowing halo looking thing, and then the alien. Let's also tell you how the alien just saw everything kind of in a grayscale, I guess is the best way to say it. Everything was kind of a gray.
They saw it more as a sonar. It was more like you see what a bat would see. Echo is more sound than sight.
Okay, so who did it better? Who was your favorite of them? Start with you.
To me, I like Rick's view better than the Predator view better. That's me because just it builds to the movie, built to his character. Because if you listen to it, they ask, "How do you get your eyes that way?" So it kind of builds into that, showing what he actually saw. The Predator actually saw heat, more tracking heat than body. He saw warm and warm. The the alien on the moon just saw it more like Echo Lake bats. I'll go to that's three is gonna be the not the Predator but the aliens on the moon. So to me that's I really like Rick's eyes better than what the Predator shows.
Okay, John, how about you?
Between the three, I definitely agree with Chad on that. Riddick probably tops. I think the way they did those sites, just because you get a nice, clear image, but you still understand he's not necessarily seeing what other people see. Uh, and then the aliens in Riddick's world, I think definitely played out smartly because I get that it's still a grainy image, but then again, they weren't meant as animal, alien, whatever that can see everything anyway. They set up that sound idea and they set up the fact that they smell blood like a shark. So in that sense, I get where they played it, and I think it was a smart artistic choice, even if it was annoying sometimes when you viewed stuff through the alien's eyes. I get it. Predators. I was just lost half the time when we viewed anything through the predator's eyes, and like I got what they were going for, and I get that it was the '80s, but I definitely think we could have probably ixnayed that and just called it a day.
Yeah, I'm with both of you guys on that. Although I did really like. I mean, the more I think about it, is when the aliens on this moon, they couldn't be around sunlight because it burnt them. So to be able to have that like sonar, as Chad mentioned, I think that's the best way to put it, like a sonar type, and still be able to kind of get the shapes and all that, so you kind of see what they were doing. I did kind of like how Riddick was able to, kind of find the blind spot of him, although he didn't really look through the eyes. He just kind of figured it out by looking straight ahead, like, okay, where are his eyeballs? Okay, he can see me here, but he can't see me if I'm here.
Mhm.
So, okay. Speaking of Vin Diesel, since he was Riddick in this movie, all right. So this was done, like I said, early 2000s, so at least 20 years ago, at least. Um, could Vin Diesel reprise this role if there was a reboot? John, what do you think?
My vote is I definitely think he could reprise the role. I just don't think it's going to carry the same kind of like I don't know, skinny, like less bulky Vin Diesel was kind of funny to watch, but like it still set up his character as more that mean attitude somehow because he's carrying around the attitude more so than the actual physical presence. But I think that same attitude, but with Vin Diesel's current like actual build, I don't know, man. It'd be pretty intimidating. I think he could still pull off Riddick quite well. Quite well.
Chad, what do you think? You're muted.
Yeah, I think you can reprise this role. Because if you look at it, I mean, I'm going to spoil a lot of stuff. Because actually they remade Pitch Black 7 years, almost 7 to 10 years after the original one came out. If it came out, it wasn't called Pitch Black. It was called, I think it was Black, but it was still it was more Riddick, but it told the same story. But
I didn't
yeah,
know
he can
that.
read.
I agree with both of you guys. I mean, I think even more so how they portrayed him as being um, a killer, or I mean, especially now with his physical build the way it is, and being older and kind of has a little bit more age in his face. I mean, I just think it would really. Uh, it's one of the few shows that, or at least it's one of the few actors I think he could replay his role again in the same way, if not better now than when he
Mhm.
first did it.
Well,
True.
if you look at this, there's Pitch Black, Chronicles of Riddick, and then actually Riddick, because they told the story after he. There's trilogies. And that, so if they, to me, if they've done it, if they do a reprise, I think they need to follow him, because following Jack, following him, how he's doing things. That's a spoiler.
Yeah, I can see that. I don't remember actually the second two movies. I know vaguely about them, but we're not going to take those into account
No.
for the next question, right? So, if you could change anything in this movie, not knowing what's going to happen, John doesn't know what's going to happen, so I'll be interested to hear his. What would you change on this movie? So I'll go and start myself. I'm not sure I'd change very much. Maybe the ending, which we'll get into a little bit with about Carolyn. We'll get into that a little bit we'll get that towards the end. I think I might change a little bit of that whole interaction between the two of them. Other than that, I mean, I think I'd keep the premise. I thought it was a very, very enjoyable, very good movie. What do you guys think? What would you change if you had to?
Well, I don't think I'd change. I would change the ending more. You see, Carol, she came and go find Riddick to stop him from taking off. Now, where he came with Riddick and took the ship back to where Jack and they were hiding. That way, they have some kind of light instead of trying to run through the aliens. So either the fast forward like that, or yeah, I would change the ending a little bit more. Than other than that, it was a good movie.
Okay, John, how about you?
I mean, kind of the same thing. Ultimately, the storytelling, they built suspense, they built up the idea of the aliens being being around them, and just how they slowly kind of built into the story. First with taking one person, and then they kind of discover like, oh, well, that's probably why this group didn't survive, and just that idea of slowly building that up. I think they did quite well on. I would change the ending a little bit, at least to make it a little less ambiguous. But uh, movie tellers are storytellers, and they try to go sometimes artistic in choice. And I think the ending wasn't necessarily ambiguous altogether, but I don't know. Just tell me a little bit more about how true Riddick was to what things we might have thought we were seeing in regards to that. But ultimately, there's not a whole lot I would change either.
I think the only thing I might, let me make myself full screen for a second. The only thing I think I might add to it is when I can't remember the guy's name, the bounty hunter guy, when he's
Jones.
actually, thank you, when he's telling stories about things that Riddick has done, or the whole fighting that the two of them have. I would have loved to have seen a flashback to that. I think that would have been a really cool thing to, flashback to the part where he said, hey, I got these things from Riddick, and kind of do a flashback on how it happened.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe something like that. Okay, Carolyn. Let's go ahead and talk about Carolyn. Carolyn, who wants to eject all of them out at the beginning of the movie, and then at the end says that she would die for them. Which one is it? I mean, did she just fall in love with all of these people? Over this bonding, did they just bond this well over all the issues that they ran into, or was it, or did she realize, hey, I shouldn't have even tried to eject them in the first place? What do you guys think?
I mean, I definitely think it's that fight or flight there at the beginning. I mean, you get suddenly woken up and your ship's crashing and something's going wrong. I mean, ultimately, like, you're going to make a call whether you necessarily want to have made that call or not. But ultimately, I mean, she made the call as captain of the ship, trying to save her ship before it ultimately gets destroyed. And I mean, yeah, they kind of crash land and she saves it. So I think part of it's just that idea of like, oh, I'm suddenly here. I need to make a choice. And then when she's actually had time to be around the people and to talk to them and stuff, I think part of it is she builds that relationship with him. And I think part of it too, maybe she's just trying to come up with a response that's satisfying to Riddick as well. But in that same way, again, I definitely think, didn't she try at some point to save them in the beginning, or did she also try to eject, or was
She
it
was
John
trying
that
Tried to
to
eject them originally, and
Yeah.
the only
Did
reason they
Did John stop?
No, the captain guy stopped
The other-
Oh,
by
the one
getting
that died.
the one
Yeah.
that died by getting his body in between where the what was it, like a
Okay, yeah.
Door, a little
something,
airlock.
the door would close and then eject the back piece. So
Okay. Then what I said is what I was going for. I just remember someone trying to stop her, and I couldn't remember how that went.
Chad, you got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it was more at first. I agree with John. It was fight or flight. It was more, hey, I'm gonna save myself, save us two before the passengers. But I think she came over and realized, hey, anybody would have done that if you were in that situation. But then, if you don't remember, Riddick asked her, doing, hey, would you die for him? So I think Riddick was get hold of, hey, would you die for him? Okay, let's see. Let's put it to the test. Yeah, I think it was a good call, but just more of a test to her than anybody else.
Yeah, I'm with both of you guys. I think it would have been, you know, when you're going through your checklist or in your mind or whatever, and you're like, I'm going to die. I have the ability to eject this and survive. Not thinking of long term of, oh my gosh, if I eject all these people, all those other people are going to die also, and then I'm going to live, and how am I going to live with that?
Oh yeah.
She wasn't thinking of that at the time. So if she would have thought of that at the time, her hand would have never even gone to the handle. So, and then we wouldn't be having this discussion.
Exactly.
But we're going to talk a little bit more about Carolyn. All right. So, all right, the end of the movie. I went and I looked. Uh, uh, unfortunately, I got on Reddit, and,
Wrong thing.
and there is a huge argument, and I'm going to see if you guys feel the same way, or if not. All right, there's two ways. They people say that this ending actually happened two different ways. Some people say that. So at the end of the movie, Carolyn says she would not die for Riddick. All right. Some people say he stabbed her at that point, and then one of the alien creatures smelled her blood and took her away. Other people say that the creature just snuck up behind her, smelled Riddick's blood, and she just happened to be in the way. But once he got a taste of it, he was like, the monster was like, oh, I've got Carolyn, so I'm happy. I got something to eat. What are your all's thoughts? Which one happened? Because it doesn't show us
Doesn't show it. So,
directly.
well, you got to think he had that little big little knife who was tapping against the bounty hunter and was like, "Remember, I got you right here." Hold on to the back of her. So it led to believe that he kind of say, "I'm gonna hold. I'm gonna say you won't die for you. You would die for us. So let's." And he just put it there to bait him up. But I can see the other side of the argument that the alien came up and was trying to grab at somebody and grabbed her instead of Riddick. So
Yeah,
both sides, but I think more like he stabbed her to show, hey, you gonna die for something? You say you gonna die? I'm gonna you gonna die unless we get away.
Okay, John, how about you? Which camp are you in?
I think I'm more on the Riddick camp, and the fact that not that he stabbed her, but that maybe his blood just lured the old alien in, because there's no way he didn't not leave. Like, he could have left in that ship a long time ago. There's no way he went back with her to get the rest of the people that are still alive all the way back to that ship just to stab her at the end. Like, I don't think that's what he would have played out as, because if he's already gone through the trouble of doing that, as preserving as he was, I don't think there's any way he's just stabbing the woman to let her go. Um, at the same time, he was very self-preserving, and I get that. But to me, I'm more on the side of, hey, that alien probably just came and grabbed her when it smelled his blood.
I'm kind of on I'm in between. I, I actually have a third thing that I think may have happened is that yeah, he went back. He did not stab her purposely, but maybe with his vision, he saw the monster coming from behind her and said, "One of us has got to die, and it's not going to be me." You know, I agree with John. There's no reason why he would go back and save those other people just to kill her later. You know,
Yeah.
that's dumb. That's bad
Which, of
writing
course,
if
I mean,
that's
I
what
can
they
see
did.
that. I can see what you're saying there too, because I mean, it would make sense. He can see the creatures coming. Also, maybe it was just a wild swing at the creature, and as bloody and crazy as he was at that point, maybe he just missed. I mean, I know as much killing as he's done, he's pretty accurate, but I mean, he's losing a lot of blood at that point. Maybe he just took a swing and missed.
Yeah, I don't know. And we won't know. I mean, we do know he survives. Um, I think I need to go back to one of my questions about what would you change on the movie. I think I would also change the actor who was supposed to be a boy that was a girl. Um, to some, I mean, I knew from the moment I was like, why is she acting like a boy? I mean, I knew exactly from the moment I saw the movie the first time, and then I was just like, okay. And then he's like, yeah, well, she's bleeding too. Like it's her time of the month, and it's like, oh, great, that's all we need. What I'm saying. I mean, if they, especially now, if you were to really do it, you could probably do, uh, you know, there are so many people that look, there's non-binary people, that, you could do something like that, um, and use that as an argument or whatever. But I definitely think that needs to that could have been done better, you know.
Oh yeah,
Uh, but I really liked a lot of the side characters. The guy with the glasses who was like the archaeologist who had all the wine and everything, and he's like, "Well, that's really expensive wine, but I guess if it's for survival, we'll go ahead
Are
and
you gonna
do
pay me back for that?
it." Exactly. Yeah. But I mean, again, it was a very enjoyable movie.
Mhm.
I vaguely remember the other two. Chad, can you just kind of give us I mean, if you remember, roughly what they were about? I mean, were they, was didn't he go back to prison or something? Or, I don't remember. I mean,
Riddick never went back to prison, and the second one, he gets Joe like the. It gets hairy because the brother or somebody that knows that bounty hunter comes back for him and takes him back to a dark like a hole like like the prison he got his eyes done in. But he was also he meant to get caught because he went. Second one, he went to go look for the girl, Jack.
right. Okay. I
Cause
do
that,
remember that part. Yeah.
but then this is when all that necromanders was coming through. It was eating up rolls. So it's a good story. And then the third one, this is when he loses. He loses his role over the necromanders people and what is going back. So it to me is the first one was good. Second one was all right. Third one is just they was trying to continue it. They could combine the yeah. It was this they should combine the two and three together to make one.
All right. Yeah. Um. Okay. Final thoughts about the movie overall. I thought if you were the realistic aspect of it was plausible. I mean, if you
Mhm.
get to a planet, you have all these things, the people they tried to lock themselves away and wasn't able to do it because of whatever. Um, and then, I mean, they forgot to lock the cellars and then they come up through the cellars, you know. Uh, and then plane spaceship crash lands on it and what have you. I really think the movie itself, the story writing was very good. I thought
Yes.
the special effects, I think John brought this up earlier, they were good for when it was produced. I think if it was reproduced now, it would just definitely be that much higher up. Because I think most of those were done on a green screen, if I remember right. There wasn't too many practical effects, other than maybe the close-up stuff when they were fighting with, like a couple of the creatures or what have you. Anyway, final thoughts, guys, before we wrap this up.
Yeah, see, it was a good storyline, and to me, is yes, what it was like. Then the other thing I would change is that place where they should have let the seller. They were trying to get into it. Why in the world did they keep trying to get into it? It was, oh, I can't get in. There must be why it was locked in the first place. From inside, I'll get out. So that's where one of the other side characters got killed because, hey, there's aliens in there, the baby was flying around, scared them, flying around. So other than that, little minor things, but it was a great movie for the time, and even the graphics and stuff was good. What time it was made?
Yeah, if you notice, they actually had several different covers, movie posters that they had. This was kind of one of my favorites.
Yeah, I like that.
Fight evil with evil,
Yeah.
that Riddick ended up being the almost like Deadpool. He was the anti-hero of this movie. I think would be a good way to say it. Well, anyway, so we've wrapped up Pitch Black. I think we've talked about this quite a bit enough today. So our next movie is going to be Robots. I have never seen this. So John picked this, and when I'm looking down at this, I see, okay, you have Obi-Wan Kenobi, so you got Ewan McGregor, you've got Mel Brooks, one of my favorites, you got Robin Williams and Drew Carey. I mean, you got a really great cast of people here, so I'm looking forward to actually seeing this.
Oh yeah, Society of Robots, a little bit more whimsical, like comedic sci-fi, I'd give it, but just the premise in general, very sci-fi-esque, but I think you'll enjoy it.
It's a great movie.
Well, good. Then I'll be the newbie because I've never seen it. So I'm glad you guys are doing the question, or John's doing the questions next week, and then he'll be able to ask us questions, and we'll be able to just tell our thoughts on it. But anyway, those of you out there, if you guys haven't seen us or anything, click on the right button here. There we go. We are at These Sci-Fi Guys on X. I still call it Twitter, but because they ask you if you need to retweet something, it's not called a retweet anymore. It's a re-X. I mean, I guess I don't know. I mean, everyone says RT, for retweet or.
Can we just call it T-Rex as an app now then?
Yeah, that would be good. We're here on YouTube channel. You can just go at These Sci-Fi Guys. You can email us, TheseSciFiGuys@gmail.com. You can see or you can find me. I'm on Twitter or X at the David Wash. So if you really want to talk to me, you can talk to me there. We'll talk to you about science fiction, football, whatever. Anyway, we are going to close this thing out. We got a new outro too that you guys may end up liking. So with that, peace out, everybody.
We're